Simpson and Delilah isn't just about Homer regrowing his hair. It's a clever and surprisingly heartfelt critique of how much we value appearances, especially in the workplace. It also features one of the earliest and most positive portrayals of a gay character on TV, way ahead of its time. If you haven't seen it in a while, here's a quick recap. Homer discovers a miracle hair growth product called Dimoxinel.
6-month supply of the drug, gravity boots, scalp massager, and your t-shirt.
But it's expensive, so he fakes a medical claim and charges it to the company's health insurance. It works, and the next morning he wakes up with a full head of hair. Almost immediately, his new look gets him noticed. Mr. Burns promotes him to an executive position, and he's assigned a personal assistant named Carl.
He sounds good. Hire him.
Who's professional, caring, and basically does everything to make Homer look like a star.
You conceal it.
But of course, the truth catches up to him. The fraud is uncovered. Carl takes the blame to protect Homer, and he ends up losing both his hair and his promotion. In the end though, Marge reminds him that he doesn't need hair, or a fancy title, to be loved. She loves him just the way he is. It's a funny episode on the surface, but when you dig a little deeper, it's packed with sharp social commentary. From how we treat people based on their appearance, to the ethics of healthcare access, and even early LGBTQ+ representation, Simpson and Delilah has a lot to say. So let's break down why this episode still hits hard over 30 years later, and how its themes are just as relevant today as they were in 1990. Let's start with one of the biggest themes: society's obsession with appearance. One of the clearest messages in Simpson and Delilah is how dramatically Homer's life changes just because he looks different.
I have hair!
He's still the same person on the inside. His skills haven't improved. His intelligence hasn't changed. But suddenly, people see him as more confident, more capable, even leadership material, all because of a full head of hair.
An unspoiled lump of clay to mold in my own image. A new junior executive.
This speaks to a much bigger issue: our society's deep obsession with appearance, especially when it comes to success and credibility. Think about it. How often are we influenced by someone's looks, even subconsciously? In the workplace, it's been shown time and time again that people who are conventionally attractive are more likely to be hired, promoted, and paid more. It's a phenomenon known as lookism, and it's not just a hunch. There are decades of studies that prove it. For example, a Yale study found that attractive people are more likely to be seen as competent, even when their actual qualifications are the same as someone less conventionally attractive. And this isn't just about hiring either. It's baked into almost every aspect of how we value people. In today's influencer-driven world, appearance is currency. People with clear skin, fit bodies, trendy clothes, or certain aesthetic styles often get more likes, followers, and brand deals, not necessarily because of their content, but because of how they look. Social media platforms reward beauty and visual appeal, often over substance or originality. It's like Homer's promotion at the power plant. Once he looked the part, people assumed he was smarter, more responsible, more trustworthy. But when he loses his hair, all of that disappears, even though he's still the exact same guy. This kind of visual bias affects everything from dating apps to political campaigns. Studies have shown that even politicians perceived as more attractive tend to win more votes. So while the episode exaggerates the effect for comedy, it's really not that far off from reality. Homer's overnight transformation and the instant rewards he receives highlight just how surface level and unfair many of our judgments still are.
Jiko Kunri, the Japanese art of self-management.
This bald man has no ideas.
This is a joke. I'm not laughing.
Some nerve telling us how to run the plant. He doesn't even have hair.
Another big theme in Simpson and Delilah is the allure of the quick fix.
Miracle breakthrough?
Homer doesn't try to improve his life through hard work or long-term change. He buys a magic solution, one bottle of Dimoxinel, and suddenly all his insecurities vanish. He feels confident, powerful, and worthy. But like most shortcuts, the effects don't last. This taps into a very real and very relatable struggle. The pressure to look or feel better instantly without putting in the time. Whether it's physical appearance, career success, or self-esteem, our culture pushes the idea that there's always a product or hack that will solve everything overnight. Sound familiar? Just scroll through social media for 5 minutes and you'll see ads for hair loss treatments that promise instant growth, teeth whiteners, diet pills, Botox in a bottle, one weird trick to lose belly fat or boost your confidence. And it's not just beauty. The idea of taking a shortcut to success is everywhere. From self-help gurus promising a millionaire mindset to hustle culture influencers who act like success is one productivity hack away. But as we see with Homer, these shortcuts often come with a hidden cost. In his case, it's ethical. He commits insurance fraud, and emotionally, he becomes dependent on his new look to feel worthy. So when the hair goes, his confidence crumbles with it. In the real world, we see this too. Athletes who risk their careers and health by using performance-enhancing drugs. People going into debt for plastic surgery or cosmetic procedures, the rise in scams and unethical behavior just to keep up appearances online. It's a cycle. We feel pressured to look or be better. We're sold an instant fix, we chase it, and when it fails or wears off, we're often worse off than where we started. What the episode subtly shows is that the real transformation Homer needed wasn't on his head, it was in how he saw himself. But in a society obsessed with image, it's easy to forget that.
Dead man coming through.
One of the most surprising and powerful elements of Simpson and Delilah is the character of Carl, played by Harvey Fierstein. At first glance, Carl is just Homer's assistant, but he ends up being so much more. He's loyal, empathetic, sharp, stylish, and maybe most importantly, deeply supportive in a way Homer has probably never experienced at work.
Now go get him, Tiger.
Roar!
And here's the thing, Carl is clearly gay. The episode never says it outright, but it's heavily implied through his voice, his mannerisms, and most notably, the brief but sincere kiss he gives Homer before disappearing from the story. And remember, this was 1990. That moment, it was huge. This was a time when LGBTQ+ characters on TV were rare, and if they did appear, they were often the butt of the joke, treated as flamboyant stereotypes or relegated to tragic roles.
Hello, all. Aren't you a little old to be wearing a dress like that?
Don't you have a little too much penis to be wearing a dress like that?
But Carl, he's none of those things. He's competent, he's kind, he's the emotional backbone of the episode, and he's never mocked for who he is. In fact, his queerness is presented almost matter-of-factly, which in a weird way makes it feel even more progressive. It's not a very special episode, it's not a punchline. Carl is just Carl, and he's the most grounded, mature, emotionally intelligent person in the room.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning.
LGBTQ+ representation is still evolving, and we're just now seeing more characters that break stereotypes. That kiss, it happened years before most major networks allowed same-sex affection on screen. Even now, positive portrayals of LQBT+ characters, especially ones who are shown as smart, strong, and nurturing, are still something we celebrate. Carl might only appear in this one episode, but he left a mark. For many viewers, especially queer ones, he was one of the first signs that someone like them could exist on screen with respect and heart. And in a show as mainstream as The Simpsons, that visibility really mattered. So after everything falls apart, Homer's hair, his job, his confidence, there's one thing that remains constant: Marge. In the end, Homer returns home, defeated, hairless, and demoted back to his old job. And yet Marge doesn't care. She doesn't love him because of his new look or his brief moment of success. She loves him for who he is. She reassures him that none of that stuff matters.
You are so beautiful to me.
It's a beautiful reminder that true support isn't based on how we look, how much we make, or how successful we seem to be. It's about love, acceptance, and unconditional loyalty. In a world that often values appearance, status, and material success, Marge represents something so much deeper. She's the grounding force that reminds Homer and us that our worth isn't tied to superficial things. Real relationships aren't about external changes or achievements, but the emotional connection we have with each other. And honestly, this is probably the most timeless and relevant message of all. Whether you're dealing with societal pressure, career setbacks, or self-doubt, it's that unwavering support system that helps us bounce back. In Homer's case, it's his family's love and Marge's kindness that truly help him regain his confidence, not his hair, not his promotion. Thanks for watching. Seriously, if you made it this far, thank you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Did Simpson and Delilah surprise you? Have you noticed lookism or appearance bias in your own life? Drop a comment below, and hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive, a like or sub helps way more than you'd think. Now, before we go, here's a little bonus. A completely unnecessary but very necessary Simpsons meme dump. Just the dumbest, funniest little moments from the episode that didn't make the analysis cut. Enjoy.
Try fish sticks. This sucks.
You like to put fish dicks in your mouth. Yeah, you're a gay fish.
But if I had hair, you wouldn't be calling me that.
Did you lose some weight?
Yeah, you look like you got a tan or something.
I know what it is, a new tie.
I am a new tie wearing.
Oh, yeah.
A round of layoffs might wake up the
We
idiots.
could put caffeine in the water cooler.
Well, those are my ideas.
A male that likes fish dicks.
Sir, fish
Fish sticks? What in blazes are you talking about?
Well, sure.
You're a gay fish.